Thanks for checking out Jesus Manuel Menagarza, RV and Travel Adventures. I just thought I'd give you a little commentary on EVs, RVs, and the EVing future. I've been talking about this quite a bit over the last 5 years or so, but today I thought I'd talk about it a bit more. Of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And please leave your kind and friendly comments below. Abajo. Muchas gracias a ustedes. We all, especially us oldsters here, I'm 71, remember the good old days. We used to buy gas for 15 cents a gallon, yes, and cars cost $5 grand. You can buy a Mercedes back in the 60s for 12 grand. It was cheaper then. Things have changed. I remember driving, I was in Texas and I drove over the mountains of the Santa Cruz Mountains going into Silicon Valley, and I saw San Jose, Santa Clara, Saratoga, Sunnyvale, Mountain View, Palo Alto, etc., Monte Sereno. And I looked and I go, hey, what a beautiful brown landscape, because it was polluted as hell back in the 60s and 50s because they used leaded gas, and that was one of the problems that we have in our society. Is back in the day, people said, hey, just ignore the issues we have with the gas and oil polluting and causing climate change. It's no big deal. It's nothing. It's nothing. Of course, a lot of the oil and gas companies paid off politicians. They supported, hey, Manchin, you want to get some cash to get reelected as senator? We got some money for you. Just make sure, we're taken care of in the oil and gas. Vice President Cheney, hey, we're going to have a private meeting with you at the White House and talk about, ways to keep the oil and gas industry propped up. And, just those people that say it's, something about global warming, just ignore that. Just ignore it, okay? So we've been ignoring it for the last 50 years, and now we're in a terrible situation. We got floods here. Terrible, absolutely horrible floods in Algiers, California, the list goes on. Around the world, the environment is changing. We've got fires in Greece and in Texas, and around the world, the list goes on and on. And of course, the ice pack in Greenland is melting, and the levels of the oceans are going up. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. And of course, we've been ignoring the situation about global warming for the last 50 years. Because why? I just said it earlier. Politicians, many politicians were paid off by the oil and gas lobby, saying, hey, in fact, why don't you give the oil and gas lobby some millions? We need money. Even though we're making millions and billions, still give us some money, give us some subsidies. And the United States government gave the oil and gas lobby, even in the recent bill over here with Biden, Manchin made sure that they got some more largesse, more cash for the oil and gas lobby. Even though it was supposed to be an environmental bill, they were giving money to the oil and gas lobby. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. A lot of you out there are old like me, again, old, and you say things like, I hear a lot of this, don't infringe on my freedoms. I want to drive in my car, and that's my freedom. I can do whatever I want. If I want to burn stuff in the backyard, just burn all my trash in there, let me just do it. It's perfectly okay. It's my freedoms. I want to drive around in my truck and trim out the exhaust with just the big belches, big old black clouds of diesel fumes. Hey, that's my freedoms. Don't infringe on my freedoms. I'm an American. In Texas, I get that a lot. Again, the governor in Texas, all the major politicians in Texas, the senators are all in bed. They're sleeping with the oil and gas lobby, because that's where they get their money. How can they afford to go to all those cocktail parties and hang out and do all that travel and buy those nice suits and hang out and loaf around all day in Washington, D.C. and Austin, Texas, without the help of the oil and gas industry. So these are my opinions, and if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave them below. Tell me, hey, these are my freedoms. I have the right to belch, fumes into the air, and if you don't like it, you can move back to somewhere else. But you can't escape this stuff. It spreads around the world, and the world is in danger right now. Due to what? Due to what? Global warming. So one of the things that's happening right now here in Austin, Texas, is that we have a plant down the road here in Austin, Texas. We have the Tesla Cybertruck coming out in a few days, few months. It's supposed to come out soon. And it's going to change the whole RVing paradigm, I believe. They're making something that's affordable. It's not going to cost $100,000. I know my niece and nephew just bought, what do you call it, a RVing SUV and a RVing truck, and my daughter just bought a brand new Tesla. They're talking about a truck that's supposed to be around $50,000, relatively cheap as trucks go, apparently. 50 grand. They said originally 35, but now it's probably closer to 50 grand. You can buy a truck, go 200-300 miles down the road, sleep in the back of the truck, do some truck bed camping, have a good time. And in the future, they're going to modify these trucks, SUVs, and vans, and create cutaway chassis, just like they do now. If you bought a Class B, a Class C, B+, essentially they're cutaway chassis. The front area where you sit is the original part of the van or the truck, and the rest is cut off, and it's just a platform where you put whatever you want from the folks at Winnebago, Jayco, Coachman, the list goes on, all these different manufacturers of motorhomes. And of course, if you're going to tow something, there's no reason why that tow vehicle can't be more modern. Like it can't have some little motors, not gigantic motors, maybe little motors to help it roll down the road. And if it's super aerodynamic, maybe have some nice and also some nice batteries under there to help. So that truck is going 300 miles. The travel trailer, the fifth wheel, also has enough batteries and motors to also go 300 miles. Isn't that a great idea? That's the future. All those oldsters here are going, that sounds weird. It's not that weird. Technology isn't that weird. I come from a family of nerds that work in Silicon Valley, and it's not that weird. Times are changing super, super, super rapidly. I remember going back in San Jose back in the 50s, and I see wax cylinders, and I go, wow, that's how they used to play records, wax cylinders and all these Victrolas and all that stuff like that. Things change. Your turn signals used to be these little flaps that go out, plump, left, plump, right. Used to open up the vents, these little windows. That's the old days. We are now in 2023, going on to 2024, 2025, and 2030. Times are changing, old folks. All you old folks out there, times are changing. Get used to it. Your children, you don't want your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and I do have great-grandchildren, by the way. You don't want them to live in an environment where they're always worried about, fires, floods, constant hurricanes, heat, stuff like that. Temperature, just the irregularities in the temperature. I know this summer was super hot here in Texas. It's been hot all around the world. It's been pretty crazy. What do you think? Again, thanks for checking out my video. I just wanted to talk about global warming, the fact that Tesla's coming out with their new truck. Wow, I'm very excited. I wish I could afford one right now, but my wife won't let me spend the 50 grand to buy a new one. In fact, they've got a long list. Woo-wee! A very long list of orders for these Tesla Cybertrucks. In fact, there's Monroe and Associates who tear down these vehicles and examine them and do some research on them and say, hey, other manufacturers of vehicles, this is what Tesla has done. Maybe we can replicate it to a certain degree. And they want to they're offering to buy the first Teslas. If you have a Tesla coming out, we'll buy it from you. We'll pay you a little extra. We'll greatly appreciate it because we want to be one of the first out there to tear it apart and see what it's made out of. All the different giga castings, all the different battery components, all the steering components, all the interior and the design of the stainless steel outer shell, etc., etc. I'm very excited. Again, Austin's just a few hours down the road. I would love to see a Tesla, and I'm pretty sure within the next 6 months for sure, we'll be seeing Teslas, around the road here because they got a lot of orders for these Tesla Cybertrucks. Hope you're doing fantastic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Muchas gracias a todos a ustedes. And don't forget to leave your kind and super, absolutely fabulous, great comments, suggestions, and opinions. Of course, all of you have opinions. All of you have opinions. Try to be nice. Don't say, Jesus Garza, you're just a hippie from California, doesn't know what he's talking about. The world, this is all natural stuff. It's not created by humans. It's just, it's a bunch of cows, farting, and that's the only problem we're having right now. Just that's how it goes. Just get used to it, okay? And if you have a chance, don't forget to check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/JMMGarza. I would greatly appreciate your support of this channel. Just donate $1, $2. If you're Elon Musk, donate $1 or $2 a month. And if you're, Jeff Bezos or, whoever you are, if you got a lot of cash, participate in my Patreon program. There are special perks. Of course there are. And don't forget to ring the bell for future notifications from my living room here in Fort Worth, Texas. Hope you're doing fantastic wherever you're at. It's finally starting to cool down a little bit. This summer, June, July, and August, and most of September was 100+ degrees. It was hella hot. And why was it hella hot? It's not just the fact that I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, but a little bit of an increase due to global warming. Believe it or not. Hope you're doing fantastic. Again, where am I at? I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. Gracias. Adios. Bye-bye.